Alrighty, we are doing a response to another Riker-ish poll. And this poll is Worst Dad.
The worst dad in the Star Trek universe.
And
the choices are...
No, these are actually really good choices, all of them. Worf, Alexander is the son. Elam Tain, Elam Garrick's dad. This was an interesting one, because this Magnus Hansen, Seven of Nine's father, or Tom Paris, the Salamander babies. I'm going to tell you, full disclosure, my choice was Magnus. Because when I was watching that episode, I was like, why would you bring your fucking kid along to something like this?
Yeah, right?
And maybe it was a plot contrivance, because that's how she got there, but Christ.
Right?
That is like, but does that also show the naivete of a scientist in the 24th century? That, oh, well, everybody... it kind of has that Archer-esque kind of feel like, oh, everybody's, peace and love and blah, 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 and holding hands and all that liberal horse shit.
Yeah.
So that was my choice. But what do you think about that choice?
No, that one checks. And it's neck and neck between that one and Auburn Tain.
Okay, good, yeah.
And he is a contender for sure, man.
All right, well, let's go through them then.
Come on, Garrick's dad.
Head of the Obsidian Order, and ruthless enough to get to retire. So, what kind of a badass was he?
No wonder Garrick is
fucked up.
So, yeah, right?
So, let's go to Tain next, because I think we've pretty much said everything about Magnus.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to, why would you even do that?
Right.
All right, so let's go with Tain. What else about Tain? What else can you say? He was the head of the Obsidian Order.
Right.
Far more ruthless than the Tal Shiar.
And instilled whatever, I don't know if he was a neglectful father because he was so caught up in his work or whatever.
Well, he couldn't even acknowledge that was his kid.
Right. So, yeah, no, what a piece of shit.
And in Cardassian society, family is everything.
Right.
So if you have...
No wonder Garrick's got the issues he's got.
Yeah.
Look who his dad was. That's fucked up.
Yeah, but that also shows how smart Garrick is, too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got good genes. His mom was probably pretty smart.
Oh, yeah. And played just great by Paul Dooley.
Oh, Garrick's a total favorite. Always. I loved him.
So, let's go with the least of the choices. Because there is an argument to be made for Worf.
There is, but I think that was put in for shits and giggles. But
okay,
it checks. It does.
Well, see, because when I took the screenshot, Tain is ahead by 4 points.
Right, it's neck and neck between Tain and
Magnus.
And Magnus, yeah.
All right, so let's go with Tom Paris, the weak sister. I guess I would think that.
I mean, what about that though? Okay, that was the what the hell was it?
The Threshold episode where he evolves.
So did he really have any control over his actions in all this, or
because it was a biological imperative?
And
he was so evolved that he should have, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean,
we don't go walking around with our cocks out, going, "Hey, bitch,"
It was external, influence on him, though.
Okay.
Would he have done that otherwise? Not likely.
Ugh. Janeway. Ugh. And he only got one kid with B'Elanna, so
But
no, anyway. Yeah, just Tom Paris doesn't. I think he's the.
Would that make him the worst father in the whole of the Star Trek?
And you don't know how those salamanders are. Maybe that's the part of they just go and have babies, and that's that.
Right.
Like with most.
I mean, we're judging it by human standards. All these illegitimate children, and he's a piece of shit because he, fathered all these kids, whatever. But. No, I don't think that one even qualifies.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
Really?
Yeah, I don't either.
I think it's out of place. There's other...
Like Kirk's brother took his whole family to that planet in Operation Annihilate.
Yeah.
And then they're all dead.
Yeah.
So I think let's talk about that. I don't think that they should have a Galaxy-class starship that is filled with fucking families. And the officers,
right?
Because that's retarded.
But of course, the Enterprise D's primary function was diplomacy.
research.
It wasn't,
Yeah.
this exploring unknown regions of the galaxy like
So
previously. That's what that's what they were doing. They were out mapping the galaxy.
but Galen was right. It is like a Roman centurion out patrolling the dull and bloated province.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
I mean,
So Galen's right.
The Enterprise was the flagship of the Federation.
Yes.
Enterprise D was.
Yeah. Well, so was Kirk's, wasn't it?
No.
No.
It was just one of the fleet.
One of the 6.
It was a Constellation class, and it was on the exploratory mission out charting the galaxy and reporting what they found.
Yeah.
That was its mission, to explore strange new worlds, and go out into, unknown regions of the galaxy. And it seemed like there would be some kind of an objective that, like you go this first, this star, then this star, then this star, because they're in proximity and they're close enough to visit and report what you find there. That's pretty much the 5-year mission.
Yeah.
Of Kirk's Enterprise.
All right, let's go to this might be the hard one, because Worf isn't as bad as Magnus or Tane.
No.
But he's not a good dad.
But he's not a model. No.
He's not a bad person. He's not beating him or anything. I mean, I would have locked the kid in the cage or something, because, really?
Yeah.
Because he was a real brat.
Yeah. Well,
you can't be my kid.
I mean, look at his mom, though.
Oh, she was horrible.
And that's who had been raising him up to that point.
Yes, the liberal mind virus.
I mean, again, reminds me of somebody I used to know. But anyway.
But yeah, I don't think he was prepared to be a father.
No.
A lot of people
aren't even aware of it.
Yeah. That's another thing.
She didn't even break the news to him till years later.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a shocker to him.
Yeah.
And so Worf was so anal about everything anyway.
Yeah. Like a kid would just cramp his style something fierce.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why that's even more of a reason why I don't believe that him and Jadzia would get together.
Worf wasn't the worst dad ever.
No.
And he tried.
Yeah.
So you got to give it to him that he tried.
I would have rather chosen.
I mean, he didn't. I mean, some of his attempts were kind of lame, but at least he was trying.
And again, why would you have your kid on a ship that obviously gets in trouble all the time?
Right. And I mean, you're the chief of security of the starship.
Yeah.
Of over 1,000 people on board, including a significant number of civilians.
Yeah.
Families, kids.
Exactly. And I think that Sarek would be
having a kid on the board for Worf would have been,
meltdown every fucking
because it would have taken away from his focus on his job of chief of security of the ship, man.
I think Sarek would be a better choice on this list instead of Worf or Paris, because then you have a real.
You know what? Yeah, Sarek and Spock, they did have their issues.
Yeah,
and I mean. Not, oh God, and bringing Discovery into it, but I mean,
no, not Discovery.
Even that though.
Well, that's super retarded.
Could be used to put him on this list.
Yeah,
of course.
But I was just talking about actual prime reality. That I mean, like in Babel.
Right, Journey to Babel, man.
Oh yeah, that's my dad. Like, what the fuck? Like, seriously?
Yeah, and I mean, they've been alienated from each other
for so long.
Well, pretty much since Spock had made the decision
to go to Starfleet.
join Starfleet.
Yeah.
And they've been on the outs ever since because Sarek didn't approve. And it was an emotional reaction to Spock's decision that he had to kind of keep a lid on it and keep it suppressed, but it was still there all along. That resentment that he felt.
Yeah.
Totally. Vulcans are not without emotion. They just don't show them.
Yes.
They don't make their decisions based on their emotional feelings about it.
It's called being stoic.
They use logic to make their decision, and they take their feelings out of it as much as they can.
But it's like
the feelings are still there.
Like Tuvok said, logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end of it.
Right.
Oh. Or was that Spock?
That's what I loved about Tuvok.
Yeah.
Is that he was a full-blooded Vulcan. He wasn't a half-breed, he wasn't half-human like Spock and struggling with that duality. He was full-blown Vulcan through and through, and Tim Russ was really good at it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so we verged off. So, tell us what you think. about our choices and our discussion, or the choices that were offered in the poll. Go to the poll, vote, tell us what you think. Like, share, subscribe.